we live in near Fundão, which
Yep.
is north of Castelo Branco.
The Great Fundão.
Castelo Branco.
Yep. Oh, yes, I saw what you did there. You were watching Philomena on Friday, weren't
I
you?
was.
Yeah, Castelo Branco.
And I'm here with my son Marley and my little his friend Finn, who's
Yep.
fluent, constantly
Yes.
reminding me of my mispronunciation.
How is that when you're out and about and you've got an 11-year-old translating for you?
He's great. No, he loves it.
Yeah.
I think he's really proud of being able to do it. He knows that even his own parents, really appreciate. Well, him and his sister and his brother, his two sisters and his brother, who are all fluent.
Yeah.
Looking the parents aren't. It's a real interesting one.
Yeah.
Constantly pulling up the parents.
His life in your hands when you're out on the road. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Oh no, it's gorgeous. I feel
Yeah.
like it's my own son. It's like we're all sort of family here.
We are. We've got a
great.
rainbow extended family,
We
haven't
have.
we?
It's
And
beautiful.
in full effect last night. And so
Absolutely.
thank you for joining us this morning at Quinta. Isn't it lovely what they've got going on here?
Beautiful. So
A bit of
impressed.
beer, a wrap.
Yeah.
And the
Amazing.
cat's joined us in the studio, a lucky black cat, and something really unlucky nearly happened. The computer nearly went over as we began. And look, we've got some friends joining us as well.
Yay.
We can have a nice, easygoing day today here at Quinta. They've got an open day, open all day today and all day tomorrow. We were in touch with Siobhan, one of the owners, leaders, stewards. Steward's probably the right word, isn't it?
Nice.
For
Yeah,
an
good word, better than
endeavour of this
caretaker even.
kind.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So Siobhan will probably come and talk to us as well. She talked to us on the phone on Friday. And it's so cool. She's let us establish a studio in the trees here. We're like me two
Fantastic.
Carls, like a couple of teenagers in a tree house with live streaming. What could possibly go wrong? So we've got
Loving it.
Facebook user who says hola. Thank you. Well, I always put in the comments, please, hola in the chat. Let us know where you are, how you're doing as well. Paul's doing that. Paul Richards is in the Algarve. Good morning to you, Paul. 27 degrees centigrade in the Algarve, looking for shade.
Wow.
He loves to taunt us a little bit. It's nice up here, but it's a bit breezy, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit breezy
On the Silver Coast today. We've got
Exactly.
the dead cats on the microphone. Don't listen wherever you've gone. That's what these things are called, dead cats.
Really?
Yeah, to
Crazy.
keep the wind noise down. Another hola from another Facebook user, and Barb is here as well. Barb, how you doing, Barb Berry? We know with a different name for Facebook. Hola. Anyway, good to see you this morning, Barb. We're gonna just have times today where we're looking out over the bay.
Beautiful.
Mrs. M is here as well, so by popular demand, she might have a chat with me.
Oh, do.
And also anyone who's passing by and wants to hang out and have a chat up here in the studio in the trees. How you doing, Mrs. M? You have a rider. She's got to have a glass of wine for her appearance. No stint. But me at the moment, the two Carls
Yeah.
on the live stream. Good morning, Portugal, coming to you live from Salero de Porto and A Quinta in Salero de Porto, where they've got a lovely open day today. What you were talking about the Silver Coast,
Yeah.
And the weather. How that might be interesting and useful for people to know about how the weather's different where you are in Central.
I mean, do you know what actually started me thinking that this morning was your grass in your front garden? Is that sort of no, seriously? Is that Spanish hard grass on your feet? Is that where we are? We've got what feels more like, I guess, grass from home. Yeah, softer. Flowing.
Okay, not the really heavy duty, hard, wiry grass. So we've got that, and you've got something that looks more like an English lawn.
Yeah, and I think it's possibly because it's much hotter here. So
Right.
that grass wouldn't probably survive as easy.
No, you're right.
It's like, and well, I mean, but in our area we get 40 degrees in the summer, so for quite a period of time.
British grass wouldn't stand a chance.
Exactly, no,
British people don't stand a chance in that, do they?
That's it, exactly. And I think it's just the valley we're in, particularly. Also, we're sort of halfway down a sort of a kilometre high valley above sea level. That's the Gardunias, which is from down and Corvilla, which is near Estrella. So it's like, it's sort of it's an unusual little spot. I mean, there's a lot of people up in the central Portugal. A lot of us, as we call ourselves, novos locales.
We love that. So
New locals.
there's been a whole debate, hasn't there, for the last few, well, not for the last few years, forever, really.
Yeah.
Expats, immigrants, foreigners, what do you call yourselves?
That's it.
Novos locales is the new locals.
I like it.
How is that going down with the old locals, the locales
They like it. They seem well. The ones that are pro us are happy us being there, and they feel like we're contributing and bringing something to the table.
Yeah,
they're good. They like it. It's I tell you what it comes down to. This is a very specific thing about Portugal that people don't realise. The mayoral story, is massive, isn't it? And the power the mayors have.
Oh yeah, tell us more about this. Yeah,
so it's fascinating. So have this great friend, Leo, who's brought this project to Portugal called The Garden. Leo, if you're listening, you'll be happy to hear you.
I think this is the second mention of
good.
Leo.
Yeah.
Because you need to tell us about that as well.
Yeah,
it's a really amazing thing
it's
he's doing.
Mind-blowing. So before I go into what he does, what he's found is he's coming over looking for interaction with local dignitaries, local authorities. And this particular junta, this particular Camara in Fundão is really positive about, a non-Portuguese person arriving, bringing a story to the table about health and healing and people benefiting from, what is out there in the world to help people. And he's been traveling around looking for potential pieces of land, large pieces of land, sort of 10 hectares plus, to set up this project, which is about a sort of a natural health healing project. And he's approached these Camaras, and what he's found is, it's all about the mayor. So the mayor of Fundão is renowned for inviting.
I've heard of his very open and welcoming stance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's got, for example, we've got the Seminario. I think it's an old seminary, old convent, I guess, that's been turned into a sort of immigrant centre.
Oh, right.
And our good friend Emma Cohen, who runs Mount of Oaks, which is a little community near our land, has got a job with the Camara to be the immigrant sort of
liaison.
Yeah, liaison.
Yeah. Wow.
And so when we say immigrant, we includes everybody. So Angolans and and Ukrainians, a lot of them coming in now.
Yeah,
obviously, and then all the Brits and everybody else.
Indians, Pakistanis. Yeah,
right across the board. It's like whoever if you're not Portuguese and you're coming in, they want to support you. Yeah. So he's found that guy really positive. He comes to the meetings. He's open to all sorts. For example,
amazing.
We had a punk night one night that he came to.
Seriously,
full on punk. It was hilarious. And then we have the hippie communities. He goes to those. So he's going to all sorts to sort of say, you're welcome. That's how we fit in together. And
that's that brilliant open-mindedness, isn't it? Of like sometimes when you're meeting with Portuguese people, there's that look of like, okay, yeah, fair enough, and like sort of open-hearted, open-minded. I love
acceptance, that. Of difference. That's what I've definitely found myself as well.
Yeah.
And then the other thing to sort of compare the two, to show the other extreme, is he goes up to Covilha, which is a sort of very close to Fundão. I mean, if you were looking across the valley, the lights would sort of blend into each other, across the bay there, across the valley between the Estrelas and the Gardunias. And the Covilha, mayor, I mean, I don't know who he is personally, so I'm not trying to berate him or put him down, but our experience of him is that he's not interested in ideas, these modern ideas, these changing ideas, this flow of
a different focus.
Yeah, he's very, very pro-Portugal, and if you're not coming with the Portuguese existing angle to the story, then you're not going to come in, basically, is what he's saying.
Yeah,
and he's very close about it. And so, that's the way the world is. We've got to have
space. It's good to be upfront about it, isn't it? So you know what you're dealing with.
Exactly, that's it.
And
so you know where to go.
3 places in Portugal that are very open-minded in the way you've described it. Fundão, one of them.
Yeah.
Penella, another one. Penella, nearer to Coimbra.
Okay.
And Manteiga, which butter.
I love it. Right? Yeah. Where's that?
That I think is nearer to further north, a colder, more rural and rustic atmosphere, and rugged, I think, in the more of the northern sort of mountainous region. But not entirely sure. You'll have to look that up. But we talked to our from Ecolution and Mushmore, who had those 3 as on the grapevine. They're helpful. Yeah, helpful cameras to engage with.
Brilliant. Yeah, and that's it. That's what we need. I mean, you go somewhere where you're feeling welcome. I think that's what it comes down to, isn't it? That's why you stay there. People are regularly passing through, end up living there. A lot of my friends locally in the Fundão area who will tell you the story of how they arrived, and it was like traveling through. Could have been during COVID, might have got stuck because of that. End up buying a space and not look back. It's common.
Lovely. That's a lot of people's dream, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you seeing more of that now in the area? Are more people thinking, I'm done with 21st century life?
Yeah. Well, definitely a new version of it. A new version of it. Definitely not. I mean, I think it's just the draw of being not crammed into a city. I think. I mean, a lot of friends I know have come over. Most of them come from these places, so that's the hardest thing, is to accept. Moving into a campo rural situation, is that maybe I'm not experienced in it, but I'm willing to give it a go. And then you have this transition period, which I had personally, where one day I said to myself, "Oh yeah, I'm not a Portuguese farmer."
Tell us about that then. How did that occur?
It was actually quite challenging, in the sense that I had this. aspiration to develop the land in the way I wanted to put it. Get the trees all pruned and get everything looking
For sure.
a certain way. And
Yeah.
actually, as I see the local farms, Portuguese farms being, though practice I would be drawn to. Anyway, the point was I sort of wore myself out, and it was like through the pain of and the sort of overexertion of myself, I realised, hang on, it's not actually
Well,
healthy.
this is useful information, right? We've got a bit of feedback that we're breaking up a bit on the
That's not good. So maybe the wind
signal. Our sound will probably be good.
Great.
There we go. We're trying on a different on my own hotspot because we're in the countryside. We're in a treehouse studio basically. So
we are.
I think we've got one more bar of signal with this particular setup now. So let's try that.
That's what you call positive feedback, where you got your people watching you telling you
positive, negative feedback. Really.
Yes.
Oh, he's left us. He's disgusted, maybe. But we do have others who are tuned in. Can you let us know if that's any better, please, folks who are tuned in? Because we've got an important bit of information from other Carl here.
Thank you.
About your aspiration and how the rubber hit the road. What was it like?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it is that thing, isn't it? If you come out here with ideals of your own sort of ability to achieve something and your dream to achieve that, what your end dream might be, the reality could be that maybe you overexerted that dream and you sort of overreached on your actual ability to do something. And then when you accept that, what I found personally is when I accepted that, I was a lot happier. And I don't need to have it this perfect sort of outcome of my the land. It's like it's the living of it is more important. This is an old adage, isn't it? It's like the journey is more important than the end result.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's
what you
a
find
very
out
old
about
sort of cliche thing to say, but
they're cliches for a reason, aren't they?
Yeah,
because they're well used. And I think that's a really good lesson or revelation to share with people, because people do have the highest of expectations, don't they? And the biggest of dreams, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
But how to manage the reality of that is quite useful, I think. And we do expect a lot from a few people.
Yeah,
that's the way our society seems to have gone, whether it be politicians or ourselves. We have this vision to create the promised land, our own new promised land, and get away from the rat race and start something. The reality of that is not easy or simple, is it?
No. And maybe we should be telling our kids, somewhere on telling and sharing with them that aspect that, you have these things you're looking to do or achieve in your life or maybe attain.
Yeah.
And it's like, actually, don't forget the way to get there is actually very powerful. Like, a very simple thing would be, I've never been good at saving money, but, but if you could enjoy the process.
To do with the name Carl?
Maybe, is it? Yeah, we're connected there. That's good. Thank you. I don't feel so alone then. That's good. No, but the sense of, like getting the kid to see the process of restricting yourself from the thing you want, maybe.
Yeah.
And then
delayed
enjoying
gratification.
Yeah. Well, no, but then appreciating it at the end. I'm never really. It's been hard doing that, and I think I found that more with the land. So like the growing on the land, food I'm growing. When I've dedicated days and days of going out physically watering because I haven't got my automated system set up yet, and then benefiting from the end with the squash that's grown, the abobora that's come through, that sort of stuff is like really, it's a powerful elixir to,
isn't it,
continuing doing it,
And it's so much human nature, isn't it, to think when you're in the supermarket before you come here in the UK, for example, I can't wait to grow my own food. And then you're in your land on a bad day in Portugal and you think, if only there was a Tesco nearby. But that's just human nature, isn't it?
The one benefit I can say about that is a lot of our local people who are doing it have been a bit longer, a bit more, let's say, capable with their green fingers. There is a good sharing going on. They've got this really good thing set up. I'll quickly promote this. It's called G1 Castelnovo.
G1.
G1 is Junus. It's actually American stroke Spanish swapping currency. It's a thing called Junus, and it's it's in France as well. Actually, there's a whole thing about it. I'll send you a link.
Is it the new sort of iteration of the Let scheme almost?
It's sort of, like that.
Or the Topness pound. Alternative.
Or the Acorn, the Brighton Acorn thing was.
Brighton Acorn, yeah.
So the idea is this currency depreciates with it longer it's kept.
Yeah, what a great idea.
Fantastic. Huh?
That's a really clever idea. So you've got to keep it moving.
Exactly, and the people turn up at sort of
It's
like,
called
here.
It's called currency for a reason. Isn't
Exactly,
it?
it's a movement. Exactly,
Yeah.
and they turn up at a place like this sort of Quinta here, beautiful place, you know, and they'll sit with their stalls, and people will trade, you know, and they'll use the currency only as a point of, if I've got something that you don't want, and you've got something I do want, then I haven't got. How do we trade it? So currency is used at that point. Otherwise, you just swap the thing. Happily, you know.
Yeah.
And people grow and make their own food, swap clothes, you know, offer services.
What sort of scale are we talking about? How many people would be involved in that?
There's 120 on the group at the moment,
That's all
and
right,
an
isn't
average turnout would be about 50 at the actual market once a month, every first.
Oh, so there's a focal point market.
Actually, it has to happen in the marketplace. It's not just a virtual thing. I mean, it can happen. I mean, I was talking about food when we started this bit, and I was saying, you know, if I can't get enough food, someone's got to go out for something.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's always courgettes.
It's the courgette market again. Yes, courgette clothing. Courgette.
You can do amazing things with courgette.
Courgette
like
recipe
it's
book.
a new cork.
The new cork. Good luck with that. Courgette. Right, we've got a question. Cavilia. Mr. S is here with us. Hi, Mr. S. Thank you so much for your regular attendance in our live streams and shows. Really appreciate you. Cavilia is a place, and I'm hoping our signal's a bit better now. We've got a few more people as well. Maybe you could let us know. We're contending with wind and also signal. So let us know how that goes. We're pioneering up here this afternoon.
Amazing.
Owen, hi. Good afternoon to you. Thanks, Owen. And to Mark, a homesteader here in Portugal as well. Great to see you, Mark. How are you doing? To the way. Cavilia is a place that I might call home. It looks nice in pictures. I mean, the historic centre. Can you tell us a bit more about Cavilia, your experience, Carl, for Mr. S?
Yeah, interesting town, because on the side of the mountain, the old part of it, as I've experienced, is right up in the top of the hills.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. Lots of small alleyways, small, you know, roads going through, cobbled, a nice esplanade with a sort of garden in it.
Moorish influence? What are we talking about there?
Actually, yes, if it was what in energy, I wouldn't want to comment about that. I'm not knowledgeable enough about it to say, but I just say it's obviously originally built high in the hills, as I'm sure originally for a protection point of view, you know. Yeah. But now
throw courgettes
down the valley,
down the ramparts.
I think is it Zezra? No, it's Mondego. I think it's a big river goes through that part of.
From Coimbra, right through to Cavilia.
Well, the other way around. It comes. Of course, we're in the hills.
Yeah.
But Cavilia is sprawling, and so what I would say personally, you know, is a more not attracted to sort of city-like part of it. So it's as big as it's the next. What's it? Constello, is it? Constello, going up from Castelo Branco. So Fundão and the Fundão Cavilia is a border for the two Castelo Branco and Cavilia.
Yes, yeah.
So when you go into Cavilia, it's a big sprawling city. You know, it's got. I always base it on. It has got a Brico Marsh and a.
Well, those are your
Brico Marsh and Max Map
markers.
And they're not in Fundão. They're in Castelo Branco and they're in Cavilia. That's the sort of like. They're actually saying that Brico Marsh has just moved into Fundão. But the point I'm making anyway, for someone that wants to go there, as I've just said, if our lovely listener was
that's Mr. S.
Mr. S listening earlier on when I was saying about the two different Chimeras, you know, you would probably see that I wasn't that much of a fan of Cavilia for the potential growth and how it's receiving people from the outside coming in. But as a sort of visually it's beautiful. Yeah, I can see why you'd like that. Yeah. And it's on the back of the Estrella. You can get onto the mountains very quickly, up to the whole hairpin bend roads. You know, it's a nice place, but I prefer a bit further south.
Should we be saying Cavilia or Cavilia? I think it's Cavilia, isn't it? Cavilia. I think there. We're all really nervous now after that session with Philomena on Friday.
Catching ourselves out.
Bob Wenger's here as well with us. Good afternoon to you, Bob. Great to see you here. Bodard, back home in Corelia after a week in the UK. How was the UK? We're both these Carls here are from the UK. Do you miss the old place?
Not at all. sorry. Well, I know that my wife's back there at the moment. And it's been very wet and windy, I've heard, and cold. Yeah. So that's not good, obviously. But I was there for 3 months over Christmas, and I sort of got stuck. I felt, you know, it's always just to get back here, get home here. Call this place home.
This is home now.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
And how long? I mean, we talked to you, didn't we? I think when you were making the. I mean, you've had a long-standing interest and connection with Portugal. But the big move happened 2 or 3 years ago, I think. It was a COVID. The pandemic that really moved you on a bit.
Exactly. We were bought land in 2014. And we've been traveling many years before that through Portugal many times. Yeah. And it was one of those amazing moments. People say, oh, you know, because I had two extreme things where I spent almost 10 years looking for land, Spain, England, France. And then when we bought the land, it was like a fluke to find it. And then 6 hours from the point of agreeing with the price with the owner, who was Portuguese, English couple of guys who bought a lot of land in the area. And 6 hours later, we actually owned it and paid for it.
It was extraordinary. That's a record, isn't it?
Has to be. It took us like in the morning, very early in the morning, went to meet the mayor of the small village, Alpadrinha, and then from there to Fundão to meet the Camara, and then to the lawyer. And it wasn't until like a year later that my partner realised that we actually had she actually attained residency in that process. So like you go to the Camara, to the junta in Alpadrinha.
Oh, I see. Because you're Brits, you were just able to make that transition at the time.
It just basically got the what's it called, attestado.
That's right.
And then when took that in, this is all obviously
and the crew papers. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it was because now it's much harder, isn't it? You've got the D7 problem now,
Yes.
But then it was like into Camara to get the what's the other paper you have to get? You get the what's the code? NIF.
The NIF.
So you've got the attestado, the NIF, and then you go with that to the Camara, and they give you the residency, 5 residency.
So you managed to do a lot in one short space of time, and come away with land, deeds in your hand. That's fantastic. You could run masterclasses on that at the moment, mate. Wow, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. A few more hellos. Covilhã. Thank you, Mr. S. And we have my life in northern Portugal.
Who's this?
Is that an old friend with a new name, or is that somebody we haven't spoken to before? But we can send you the link, and you can join us on the screen. My life in northern Portugal. Loads of planting to do this weekend. Let's hope the sun stays. So, how's your weather looking up there in the north? Possibly a little bit chillier, but probably bright and spring-like as it is here. The Sicilian water, where we like Portugal, says Bob. Let's screen. Portugal definitely home, as you said there, Carl. Here we go. Portugal definitely home, even though the Cotswolds were enthralling. They are beautiful, the Cotswolds, aren't they? Beautiful place. Absolutely. But you need a few million, I think, to live in the Cotswolds comfortably. Yeah. Good morning from Minnesota.
Sorry, I was going to say, even then, planning's not going to make it.
Can you imagine? You can't just chuck up an extension in the Cotswolds. It's got to be in that beautiful stone, isn't it? We've got Glacio D. Good morning from Minnesota. Fiona and Simon. Good morning to you. 3 peas in a pod. All sounds looks good. Oh, good to hear it. And it's me, Owen. So, okay. That's his new iteration. You've seen enough of me. What will people think? Brilliant. Carl, great to talk to you. Thanks for joining me in the broadcasting treehouse. All right, boys? The boys are here that you were talking about. You having a nice time wandering about? Guess how many seeds in the jar? Carl, cheers, mate. Safe journey back to Central Portugal. So that's Carl. Yeah, that's terrific. And I was going to ask him about community life over that way. And can you come back for a minute? Sorry, because that was kind of an intermediate thank you rather than a climaxing one. A climaxing act of gratitude. Right, community life.
Yes.
When I think we had conversations about this before. When first interested in Portugal, it came along with perhaps being involved, living in community with other people.
Yes.
Was that? Am I right? Definitely. Was that kind of your approach, vibe, aspiration, possibly?
Absolutely. Always,
what's happening? Do you think in that's happened since then and now? Because I was saying this to somebody the other day. 10 years ago, the resource that we had was pure Portugal, wasn't it?
It was.
And we would look at land and houses on there. Yeah. And you'd be on Facebook. Does anyone want to start up a community? Vegan, yoga. It'd be all of that, wouldn't there? And there'd be
Rainbow
vegans only. Oh, I don't think I can do that. No smoking, definitely. There was all these checklists.
Dogs and no dogs. That's
dogs and no dogs. Vegan, not vegan. Smokers out. Bloody blah. All that.
So hard.
And it is. Yeah. I mean, what a nightmare.
It was.
Have you eaten my tofu? I did write my name on it. All of that sort of stuff. Is that still strong? Do you think in Central Portugal? Yeah. That is happening still. Is it that phenomenon?
I mean, there are definitely people constantly arriving, joining, communities looking for woofers, and then you go in there and you end up connecting or not, and then you sort of, if you want to stay. I think it has to be, from my experience, because I know a couple of very successful communities in Portugal, but they're very rigid. That's what makes them survive.
Well, that's the interesting thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
To have a shared vision gives you more, I think, chance of success because the rules are there, aren't they?
Definitely.
It's not about me. It's about the rules and the guiding principles of the place.
Exactly.
If it's a free for all, that can end up with quite lengthy house meetings, can't it?
It really
or community meetings. Yeah.
And then so that one thing, communities that didn't put conflict resolution at the center of their philosophies always fail.
Had conflict.
Yeah, but
enough.
it's inevitable.
Yeah,
I think that's it. And maybe the Brits that I've met who have dreams about being involved often find themselves not actually having the makeup, a sort of cultural makeup to be able to cope with it anyway.
Wow, that's an interesting point.
Because I think, we, in my community where we are, and I'm calling it a community because we actually call it an unintentional community because we're about, I can think of 50 families in a sort of, 10-kilometer radius who are on the same groups we've created for different purposes. And, we're regularly in each other's pockets, in each other's houses.
But not living in the same, under the same roof.
Exactly.
Now, would you say that's a little bit easier to contend with?
It's the
Less
only
demanding.
way for us. It's worked for us and it continues to work. And you can, you spend more time with some people for a while and you don't see them for a bit, and that's also okay. It's not a sort
That's
of
life, isn't it?
Yeah,
like having cousins and
exactly.
extended family.
Bigger family. That's what it is, a form of a family, a new family.
Well, that's a nice iteration.
Yeah.
So you're not living in each other's pockets,
Yeah.
and you can call on each other. So you've got a good support network,
Yeah.
but not an overbearing, overwhelming sense of community and all that stuff.
Yeah,
that
a
goes with it.
forced expectation. I think it's the expectation, especially for Brits, it's the expectation of what you've agreed to and then being stuck with that.
Yeah.
And not having the freedom
What
to...
a nightmare.
Yeah.
Escape the rat race and then end up with
Yeah.
your dysfunctional family constellation around you.
Exactly.
That is what can happen, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well, thank you for that.
Not at all.
Is the garden such a project? Where does it work? Because you were going to tell us about Leo's
Very
project.
quickly.
at the
Okay, well,
garden.
from what he's actually been away for a while. He's coming back this month, I think, the next few weeks, hopefully. And his plan, very simply, is... and he'll probably hopefully come on.
I'd love to talk to him.
come on,
Yeah.
talk
I'll look
without
at
doubt.
see if there's anything online at the moment while you're telling us about it.
And basically, it's a large piece of land where people who have been diagnosed with terminal illnesses will be invited for free and will receive healing treatments, what's the word for it? Allopathic, is it?
Not allopathic. Yeah, well,
mainstream medicine.
holistic.
Yeah.
Complementary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of the above. That's not from everything from massage right through to homeopathy,
Energy medicine.
Yeah, internal, external input. With a space to live while you are healing.
Yeah.
And the intention is that we will heal people. That's what and he believes it. And the people that are offering this service are well paid, well renowned in their field, are going to give up their time for free to come and give it to those people.
Amazing.
It's mind
And
blowing.
no wonder the mayor wants to get involved with that then in Quinta.
And Leo's a great advocate. He's very eloquent and he's very able to. He's very, if you're doing this sort of project, anything like that needs passion, doesn't it, of the person leading it?
Yeah.
But it also needs a strong helm. And I've heard, stories of where some of the investors have got involved and had to, and it's become, a bit of conflict because the investor wants direction control and that's not available because Leo's, it's his project.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting. I found that quite important. You have to be strong enough to hold that,
All right. And that's Leo Jux, is it? Jux? Because I found a GoFundMe.
Oh, brilliant.
If you like the sound of that, then do get in touch with the link I'm going to pop into the chat now. But that's going to be around Funny, is it? That's
what I'm hoping. He's looking a lot of Portugal, and he's got Portuguese people who are strongly involved. We're just trying to keep him in our area because we're selfish.
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? What a lovely resource to offer to people. Okay.
Exactly.
If the technology will allow me,
I'm going to love you and leave you because I actually need to go and have find the little
attend to nature. You can have a wild wee here, I think, in the countryside. Thanks, mate. Sorry I called you back. You were ready to go, weren't you? All right, I'm copying that link now, and I imagine we'll have a few more chats with people here at Quinta, where we're streaming from today. Let me just pop that into the chat there. Interesting project. Leo Jux is if when you cut and paste a Facebook link and it gives you all a Facebook code because they want to keep control over it. Let me just try that again. So any questions about Quinta? Hopefully we'll talk to Siobhan. Mrs. M's here. Siobhan, of course, who's part of Quinta here with Patsy, and we will have Mrs. M, I think, on as well. She's wondering about her rider is that she won't talk to me over a glass of wine. And what a lovely thing to be doing here. We've had a nice chicken wrap. There's beer and wine flowing and sangria if you're watching this on the San Martino Guide or on the group, then please pop over. Open all day tomorrow as well. So there's the GoFundMe. I mean, you don't have to fund them if you don't know anything about them at the moment, but that will give you, I think, a direction in which you can find out more about the project there, the garden. Help create the Garden Healing Centre, and that's for Portugal there. Leo Jux, the man behind it. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the mics down, bring the music back up, and then be back along in a little while. But enjoy the view. See the blue sky here of the Silver Coast, and I'll take me off the screen and put the long view, the big picture, and have a little bit of music in the background there. See you in a while.